inside the WALLS. It was a little after midnight when I heard my sister call me from downstairs. Not a knock, not a text, just her voice, soft and steady, like she was standing at the bottom of the stairs with one hand on the banister. "Come down here, quick." I sat up in bed and let the silence press against my ears. My sister was 3 states away. I should have grabbed my phone. I should have turned on every light in the house. Instead, I listened because the voice called again. "You come down." My parents were out of town for the weekend. The neighborhood was quiet, driveways empty, porches dark. I had killed the night with old movies and leftover pizza, drifting on the couch until I finally crawled upstairs. My sister Allison was on a ski trip. She had texted me pictures around 9. Helmet hair, fake smile, mountains like postcards. We joked about our parents being paranoid and about me, the grown adult, watching the house like a guard dog. I locked the front door. I deadbolted the back. I checked the basement door twice, because basements never feel finished no matter how much drywall you put up. At midnight, I turned off the lights and went to bed. At 12:07, Allison called me from downstairs. I grabbed my phone. No missed calls, no new messages. I opened our thread anyway and typed, "Are you home?" Then I deleted it. If this was a prank, it wasn't funny. If it wasn't a prank, I didn't want to name it. From the hallway, the house held its breath. The air tasted like winter, cold, dry, metallic. I stepped to the top of the stairs and listened. Nothing. Then from somewhere below, closer this time, her voice again. "Hey, come down." No nickname. No inside joke. Just a command like the house itself had decided to speak. I opened the doorbell camera on my phone. The porch was empty, street lamps carving pale slices across the dead grass. No movement. I checked the living room camera, dark, curtains pulled. Kitchen clean and silent. Basement grainy gray. The washer and dryer hunched in the corner like sleeping animals. I switched on live audio and whispered, "Hello." The delay came back as soft static and the empty sound of our own house. I turned my phone volume down. That's when I realized it. The voice wasn't coming from any room. It was coming through something. I pressed my ear to the wall by the stairs, the one with the return vent near the floor. The metal grill was cool against my skin. From inside the ductwork, maybe 5 or 6 feet deep, someone exhaled. Not a breath exactly, more like an imitation of a breath. "Come down." I recoiled and the vent coughed dust. My first thought was a raccoon or a possum stuck in the crawl space. My second thought was worse, someone in the house. Someone who knew enough to make a voice sound almost like my sister's. It wasn't perfect. The vowels were stretched. Not wrong, just practiced. I dialed emergency services and told the dispatcher everything. Parents gone, sister away, a voice in the vents. She told me to stay on the line, stay upstairs, and wait for officers to arrive. We were still talking when the house phone rang downstairs. We don't use the landline. It exists for our parents and telemarketers. The dispatcher said, "Don't answer it." The landline went quiet after 3 rings. The silence returned heavy, like a blanket that smelled like dust. Then the voice spoke again, closer now, coming directly beneath the vent. "Officers are coming." The dispatcher didn't say that. She had told me to stay upstairs. She hadn't said they were close. Something downstairs was repeating what it heard, selecting the words it liked and learning how to wear them. In the hallway ceiling, the attic ladder waited behind a square panel. I pulled the cord and the hinges complained. Cold air spilled down. I climbed 3 rungs and stopped. The attic smelled like insulation and old cedar. If something had nested in the ductwork, I would see signs: chewed foil, droppings, torn batting. Instead, I saw handprints. Not greasy, not bloody, just clean shapes in the dust. Small, precise, and recent. They led to the far end where the duct disappears into the wall cavity over the stairs. I whispered, "Hello," without meaning to. "Hello," the vent answered back in my voice. It had me. Not my name, not my history, just the sound I made and the shape of the word. My phone buzzed. A new text from Allison, time-stamped. A mountain emoji. A selfie with friends at a bar. She was fine, she was loud. She was nowhere near my stairs. From below, the basement door clicked. Not open, just the latch testing itself. Again. I crept down the hall and looked over the rail. The basement door sat in the foyer, next to the hallway mirror. In the mirror's black rectangle, I saw the door tremble, like someone was leaning their shoulder against it from the other side. The dispatcher's voice was still calm in my ear. Officers were on their way. From under the basement door, a line of darker dark pooled into the hall, a shadow with weight. I told myself it was porch light bending. The house suggested something else. "Come down," the voice said from the gap beneath the door. I took the baseball bat from the coat closet. I didn't feel brave. I felt obvious. The voice didn't sound angry or hungry or like anything I could reason with. It sounded curious. The basement door latch tested itself again, impatient, then stopped, as if listening. I heard the smallest sound in the world. Fingertips brushing the inside of the door, sliding up the wood, finding the lock. I stepped backward up the stairs, 1 step, 2. Behind me, through the return vent at ankle height, the thing sighed. It was closer than the basement, closer than the foyer. It had mapped the house like a throat. For a long 10 seconds, nothing moved. Then, from directly inside the vent, so close I could feel the air shift, my sister's voice said a sentence she would never say. "Open up for me." I ran, knocking rattled the house. Not the basement door, the front door. 3 rapid, professional raps. "Police, open up." I froze halfway down the stairs. The dispatcher was still in my ear. "They'll announce themselves," she said. "Don't open the door unless you see badges through the peephole." I looked through the peephole. The porch was empty. No boots, no hats, no one. The knocks came again, but from the basement door this time. Same cadence, same authority. "Police, open up." The dispatcher said the cruisers had just turned onto our street. I stood at the top of the stairs, between the attic and the foyer, with the bat that felt like a prop. The return vent at my ankle shivered, as if something on the other side had rested its cheek against the grill. I crouched and for the first time spoke to it. "Say my name," I whispered. The house listened. When it answered, it did not choose my sister's voice or the dispatcher's or the pretend officers. It chose mine, perfect, like a recording I didn't remember making. "Please," it said in my exact voice. "Open the door." Headlights washed across the curtains. Real headlights, blue and red threading over the ceiling. A radio crackled outside. real boots on the porch, a real knock at the front door. I stared through the peephole, and this time, a badge, a real face, a breath fogging the glass. I undid the chain and pulled the door an inch. From behind me, in the vent at my ankle, something whispered so gently I almost missed it. Next time, the vent inhaled like a lung becoming empty. I flung the door open. The officers searched the house, basement, attic, every closet. They ran the duct fan and tapped the lines. They found nothing. No pry marks on the doors, no footprints in the snow, no sign of an animal or a person. One officer shined his light into the return vent and frowned at the dust. "You see this?" he asked. Inside the grill, the dust had been disturbed in a perfect oval, as if a face had pressed there for a long time, listening. They told me to keep the landline unplugged, lock the doors, and call if anything else happened. The younger officer tried to make a joke about raccoons and YouTube. I laughed like a good citizen and watched them leave. When the house settled again, it felt like a stage after the audience goes home. Same props, same set, the air still tasting like winter. I slept with the lights on and the bat near my pillow. At 3:11 a.m., I woke up to a sound I can't describe without feeling it in my teeth. Not a voice, not a knock, a practicing. Like the house was trying shapes, like the walls were teaching themselves how to say me. In the morning, my sister texted, "You good? Dreamt I was at your place and you wouldn't come downstairs." I typed and deleted responses until the coffee went cold. Eventually, I sent a thumbs up and a joke about ski lifts. I leave the landline unplugged and the porch light on. It doesn't help. Every house keeps a little bit of what we say. Phone calls through the drywall, laughter in the beams, secrets that never find a door. If you wait long enough, your home learns the shape of your voice. And if something else is listening, it learns too. If you're home alone tonight and you hear someone you love asking you to come down